How do we manage the family contribution?
Students and parents often have a concern about how they're going to manage the family contribution. And there are many strategies for managing the family contribution, but the main thing here is that parents and students want to think of this as an investment in the student's long-term future. That's what college education is all about. So we want to talk to parents and students about those many strategies that they might have about managing that family contribution to make it possible for them to afford the college that the student really wants to go to. So I'm Kathy Blaisdell, I'm the Director of Student Financial Services, and this is Gail Holt, who's the Senior Associate Director of Student Financial Services. Gail?
Well, one thing that students will do is they'll use their summer earnings or save money over the summer to help with their student contribution when they're enrolled in school during the academic year.
Another thing is that families might choose to adjust how they spend money. If you can manage as much of the family contribution while you're actually, living college, that's great, because then you don't have to borrow for it. If you have savings for college, super. If they've been set aside, that's wonderful. But there are many families who have not managed to save as much as they really want to save or need to save for the family contribution over the 4 years. And it is a payment that you would have to be thinking about possibly over time, not just the 4 years that you're enrolled in college, but possibly even a longer period of time. In the same way that you might think about having to pay for a house, or you might have to pay for a car or something. So those are the kinds of things that families might need to think about.
If you can find some money in your monthly budget to spread the cost even over the academic year, there are tuition payment plans that you can spread the cost over 9, 10 months in the year, and there's no interest involved with that. It's just a matter of using your resources. The payments on those programs do begin a little earlier than the start of the semester, so planning is needed. But that's one way to use your budget. Now, if you need to spread it out a little further, there's some other options.
Right. One of the options that we talk about on our website is the Parent Plus loan. And this is when you might need to stretch out that payment for up to 10 years, where the parent is managing the family contribution by borrowing for the benefit of the student. And it's called a Federal Direct Plus loan here. And we've got more information about the terms of that a little bit later. But that's one where you're really stretching it out a little bit further.
And if you don't need a significant amount of money, sometimes parents have concerns in relation to their own budget about borrowing in their name, and they're looking, potentially sometimes students are looking for options in their name. And there is the Federal Direct Unsubsidized Loan where students can borrow in their name in the amount of $2,000 if families just need a little bit extra. But that's how families might share that responsibility for the family contribution between the student and the parent.
And another option that is available for students who are attending college or university in Massachusetts, we have the Massachusetts Education Financing Authority, which we call MEFA. And that organization has an undergraduate loan option, which a student and somebody else can be a co-borrower for that loan. So it could be someone besides a parent, if there's a grandparent or an aunt, or somebody else who's willing to co-borrow with the student on that loan. That might be a way of financing a bit more of that family contribution. And that's called MEFA. Also some information available on our website about that.
If spreading the cost out over the academic year, or if a parent can't borrow a parent loan, what we consider an option of last resort would be a private loan. And private loans are not ideal because the interest rates are variable on a private loan, which means that they can change over a period of time of repayment, whether it's 5 years or 10 years or even 20 years. And although rates are fairly low right now, they have the potential to increase quite considerably.
And that interest rate can vary considerably based on the credit worthiness of the co-signer of the loan. There's a bit of a difference between a co-borrower and a co-signer, and with a MEFA loan, it's a co-borrower, though the two of them are responsible for the loan. With a co-signer, sometimes if on-time payments are made over time, then the co-signer can be dropped from the loan and it would stay just as a student loan. So these are all things that students and families need to consider as they're trying to decide how to manage the family contribution.